Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, death slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome, and let's go to the good old USA and talk about this new Trump story. And I think I need to make it clear yet again. I thought it was clear from most of my videos. I'm not really a supporter of anyone, really. I was a supporter of Ron Paul, but since then, I'm merely observing the candidates and looking at all the different pluses and minuses and essentially, the jury will always be out for me until I see what happens. And Trump is certainly an interesting character, and a lot of people don't like him because of his personality and a lot of the crazy shit he says. But I'll wait and see when he's president, and I'll see what he actually does, and then I'll make some decisions. And I'll be more than happy to make videos tearing him up if he goes down that road. But anyway, let me get to this story because this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I don't necessarily need to be either anti-Trump or pro-Trump to call out this recent story. Of course, first thing I see the headlines, everyone else does, that Trump twittered that the, quote, the United States must greatly strengthen and expand its nuclear capability until such time as the world comes to its senses regarding nukes, unquote. And I had the same reaction. You know, I see a headline like that and I'm going, oh shit. What did Trump say now? And is this reflective of an actual policy? And is this crazy talk? And what the fuck is going on here? And sure enough, you know, you get into the story and the distortions are coming right off the bat. First of all, we have the fact that Vladimir Putin said recently that he's calling for the Russian nuclear program to be reinforced. And so now you put it in that context, and it's a natural thing for Trump to say. The United States has to greatly expand its nuclear capability until the world comes to its senses, because he sees any kind of arms race and any kind of more nuclear buildup as a dead-end path. But he's not going to have somebody beat him at that game, and that's what he's discussed. And to me, it harkens back to things that Reagan used to say as well, staring down the Soviet Union. So that's just pragmatic worldview, and in fact, Trump has spoken out against proliferation on many occasions, but he's made it clear that he's not going to expose his hand and tell everyone that what he's going to do. And I think every president has operated that way. Maybe Trump is a little more outspoken. And also, I think people need to remember that there was no outcry whatsoever when Barack Obama became president, and he talked about ridding the world of nukes. And he did some reduction, but then he turned around and put together a program for $348 billion in investment in a nuclear program, a U.S. nuclear program over the next 10 years, and then talking about $1 trillion over the next 30 years to modernize our nuclear program. And so it's not necessarily an expansion, but it's a modernization and then an inclusion of tactical nukes, and that's a big factor in today's nuclear game. And that's the fact that we have the U.S. right now has 7,000 giant warheads, the U.S. and Russia about on the same level. And then you add in all the European powers that have nukes in India and Pakistan and the like, and the balance of nuclear power gets a little more complicated. But the fact is that tactical nukes are being entertained as a possibility. Certainly that was brought up during the discussions of a possible attack on Iran using these nuclear tactical nukes. And we have an entire school of thought in the U.S. military now that thinks practical application of tactical nukes is the wave of the future. And so it will normalize. And so we'll look for the first day that they are used. And there's some speculation that we've actually seen them being used on the battlefield before, and they're just not talking about it. And that sounds like the way the military would work. They're going to probably test these tactical nukes out somewhere in these battlefields around the globe and find out what they need to find out, and integrate it into the policies, foreign policies and military policies of the United States. So anyway, the bottom line, we don't really need an expansion of nuclear programs, and the less of this stuff we have around in the world, the less likely it is to land in the wrong hands as well. But there we go. Pretty scary headline, because it turns out once again, it sounds like we're finding a situation where he's just Trump is being pragmatic, and there's all kinds of analysis out there about what he meant and what he might have meant and how crazy it is. And if it really turned out to be what the press seems to be indicating, then it would be some crazy shit. But once again, you read into the details, and it doesn't turn out to be much. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?